Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Heel Brothers. Me and Mr. Allen are back again today talking some defense. The North Carolina Tar Heels are about halfway through summer camp so far right now, and a lot has been talked about Gene Chizik's year two defense, and a lot of positives I'm hearing recently coming out of the program. Mac Brown had a big press conference just the other day, where he addressed a lot of things. I mean, he gave a laundry list of details of the team, both offense and especially on that defensive side. And we're going to touch base on that today. But Alan, we all know the stereotypes that have followed the UNC defense following last year. We know what that is and what that looks like. Ever since 63-61 happened in App State, boy, we have been dogged ever since, and that has not lightened up one bit. And honestly, deserved. We deserve that.
Yeah.
We deserve to get called out like that. And it's not something that surprisingly Mac or Gene is running from, nor are the players. They're not running from it. They're sick and tired of it, and they're ready to prove everybody wrong. And they've got about right at 2 weeks left until until they get to see if they can prove us wrong or prove us right. So we're gonna see. But I want to open it up with you, man. What are you thinking about this defense coming into the season so far right now, based off what you've heard, maybe the hype around some of the transfers? We try to do a short each and every day, and we was talking about Amari Gaynor and Elijah Huzzy yesterday. So what do you think, man, going into this year's defense? Are you liking it so far, or are you cautiously optimistic?
Well, we can't get any worse, right?
Technically, yes.
Not by much. Look at the stats. But not by much.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I'm of the mindset of show me. You can listen to player interviews throughout training camp, and they've stated that they've all heard that. We heard that we're not physical enough. We look like Tarzan. We play like Jane. You're no good. The defense sucks. And from what they were saying, they're tired of hearing it. But I'm of the opinion you might be tired of hearing it. But this is Matt Brown's fifth year.
Fifth year.
This
is year 5.
Fifth year 5. The defense has been the same for 4 years, essentially.
Well, yeah, I will say the 1 year that they had a top 60-50 defense was the Orange Bowl year. So really, your past 2 seasons have been your big down years, to say the least.
We don't have UNC doesn't have a pass rush.
Yeah, that is a problem.
I saw a stat earlier this week. Last season in the red zone, Chizik blitzed 47% of the time. And you know how many sacks you created in the red zone blitzing on 47% of pass plays?
Probably, I would honestly say, given off last year's defense, probably less than 10.
0.
Huh.
You know how many sacks North Carolina had last season?
I do not.
17.
That's no good.
That's no good.
That's no good.
So I mean, like I said, you asked me how I was feeling. I'm of the feeling that I don't have an opinion. Like, I don't have an opinion on the defense until the defense shows up September 2nd and walks onto the field for the first drive, and we'll see how it goes from there. The players can get in front of the microphone and talk. You can talk the talk. At some point, this defense has to walk the walk and prove it on the field. That's where I'm at right now. I mean, you hear all the great things about Huzzy, Tayon Holloway. He's really coming a long way. You got Mark on the edge, you got Kevin Ruck on the edge. I personally think Kevin Ruck is going to be one of the best edge rushers that UNC has this season. Miles Murphy, then you got the return of Tamari Fox. Hopefully they can wreak havoc up the middle, but until you see if they're going to wreak havoc up the middle, until you see Kingman or Amari coming off the edge free, or until you see Elijah Huzzy knock a ball up in the air and one of the safeties pick it off, or he picks it off over the middle, runs it, and runs it to the half, takes it in for a touchdown. Until you see that on a consistent basis, this defense right now is what it is. I mean, it's Gene's second year. He came in his first stint with North Carolina. He came in 2015 with less talent than he had when he walked in last season, and he did more with less in 2015 than he did in 2022. When Gene walked in last season, I was like, I knew what he did in 2015. I knew how he turned that defense around in 2015, so I was expecting some type of turnaround like that last season. But the defense last season was statistically worse than the last year Jay Bateman's defense.
Yeah.
So they brought in Gene Chizik just for the defense to get worse. And that's not what you want as a defensive coordinator. And I don't think that's what Matt Brown signed up for either.
No, I think that's definitely why there's a lot of added pressure on the defense this year, and they're getting all that attention. And Max honestly put pressure on them for sure over the back half of that season last year, and also throughout the spring into the summer, now into the fall. You're seeing a lot more pressure on him. He's saying, like, hey, we got to start tackling. We got to start rushing the passer. We got to start doing this, because if not, all these hopes and dreams that we have is completely up in smoke in a heartbeat. And we kind of saw a lot of it like this last year. But I want to throw something at you. So when Gene Chizik came back to UNC last year, he also had been 5 years out of the league, been out of coaching for 5 years. He was done sitting at home. Well, in that time,
he worked for the SEC network. He worked.
Well,
he
I mean,
football.
like, he around football, but not coaching. And a lot of things. And Max even alluded to this, and a couple of other insiders have even alluded to this, that he was away for a while, and a lot of things changed, and a lot of it kind of caught him off guard, even though he was watching. A good bit of it caught him off guard, and he had to refigure out offenses. And honestly, personally, I think it's a good thing that he worked alongside Phil Longo last year, because who better to understand great offenses outside of Phil Longo? He's able to work with that and understand through him. Now, like we mentioned before, there was some coaching rifts there, and we won't get into that. But I think you started to see a little bit more of a different Gene Chizik towards the back half of the season, little by little, and you started to see him attack things differently. I'm of the belief and the mindset that one thing, I think we had a bad mixture, and you got a really bad product out of a bad mixture. And that mixture being, one, a coach had been out for a few years and having to, relearn offenses again, newer style offenses, this whole run and gun air raid stuff that's sparked up out of nowhere. Everybody can get over the top in a matter of seconds. And then on top of that, we did have some players on that back defense that was questionable, and they had been questionable before his arrival as well. And we kind of saw that a lot in Jay Bateman's last year, for sure. And you put 2 and 2 together, unless you've just got some absolute studs. I mean, just studs that have just come in NFL ready. They're ready to rock it. It's kind of hard. But, last year the team was a lot younger. This year they're older. That helps. That maturity helps. And I think this season you're going to see a little bit different, especially with the transfers that you brought in are not coming around to play. And I think that also helps the team, first off, in a maturity aspect. But second off, you need dogs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not to kind of play on it, like Georgia, they're the Georgia Dogs, but guess what? They've got dogs on the defense. That's what made
Yeah.
their defense so stout last year. That's why they were easily everybody. I think everybody knew in the nation, like, yeah, Georgia's going to win the national championship this year. It's just going to happen because you saw those
Yeah.
guys go out and play like dogs. Now, UNC still got to do that. So far, they
Mm-hmm.
look good in practice. They look good in pads. I'm hearing great things out of practice. Still practice. When the ball gets placed on the field in Charlotte, we're going to see. We're going to see firsthand. We're going to be in those stands watching them. And where we're sitting is going to be a great view, so we'll be able to see the whole field and everything happening on it. We'll get to see everything kind of from a bird's eye view in a sense. The same type of seats we sat in an ACC title game. But hey, by the way, if you want to donate and fundraise to the Hill Brothers, we very much appreciate that. Go fund me down in the description. Hook us up.
No fun. We're not sitting at the very top and we're not sitting at the very bottom. I like the seats we have, so I don't know why you're ragging
Honestly,
on the seats.
in the ACC title game, I actually liked it. You could see the numbers, you could see everybody. You couldn't see the names on the jerseys, but it's okay. It's
Well,
here.
you just need to get your eyes fixed then.
Well, I might do.
Then I can see the names just fine.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll get me some glasses. Matter of fact, I already have some. But anyway, you're hearing a lot of good things about the defense, and I think one of the biggest keys, and we really didn't hear about this outside of Tayon Holloway until Max, practice conference the other day, where he was talking about, these depth pieces, Bo Atkinson, Sebastian Cheeks, to name a couple, starting to really get themselves going. And that's one thing UNC really lacked last year was depth. And that hurt a lot because you need to be able to substitute guys and be able to trust them out there each and every down. Whenever somebody, you can't expect two guys in particular. Power Eccles, Cedric Gray played 900 snaps apiece. They're looking for depth at linebacker right now, and Amari Campbell stepped up.
I think they found that Amari Campbell is really taking a hold of the defense, and
this is a freshman. This dude just walked into the. I mean, he don't even know where the where his classes are yet, and he's already being talked about as a key rotation piece. In that linebacker depth chart, you hear the name Caleb Cost out of nowhere. I think it's really saying something when nobody asks a coach about a player and they just bring him up anyway. That says something to me. Tayon Holloway, we obviously have heard. Tayon Holloway has obviously been a guy that's been in conversations a lot. He's played himself into the corner rotation, that 3-man corner rotation.
The younger guys have to, the younger guys have to understand their role, and that they have to embrace their role, and it's a learning process.
Yeah, and then Bo Atkinson, like we mentioned.
Yeah, he's going to play behind Dez. On the side,
RJ Grigsby and Legend Cavazos are not out for the season. They're only going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, which after we get there, it'll be like 2 to 4 weeks, basically, when the season starts.
Yeah, probably somewhere around the Pitt game.
The open week, something like that. Gearing up for that back half of the season, that big part of the season that you're really going to need. I mean, you really would love to have them now just in case something happens. But, DeAndre Borkins, Will Hardy, Stick Lane, those guys are still there. They're hurt. They're banged up right now. But, there is hope that they will play in Charlotte. Nothing's for sure yet. But, I look at the defense. Hardy, yeah. And, talking to rotation pieces, Will Hardy ended up becoming a very pivotal and key piece in that team and rotation and being able to be ready last year. We saw what Will Hardy was able to come and do, and some big moments in late in games, Duke game especially, for sure. But honestly, I look at this defense and there is a lot of hope for me. For one, they talk it, which is great. You can talk it. You can talk the talk. Can you walk the walk? And I believe this year They have to. I'm going to hold them to the standards they hold themselves to. They say they're pissed. Cedric Gray comes back. He turns down going to the NFL and says, hey, I want to come back. I want to play for North Carolina. I want to win an ACC championship. I want to play in the playoffs. I want to do that. And Cedric Gray could very well be in a NFL preseason game right now. He does not have to be on the North Carolina Tar Heels, so that's saying something for him to come back.
Yeah, he probably could have got drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he would have been. So I'm going to hold them to that, that standard they hold themselves at. I look all around the field, and I believe I've heard great things that Des Evans has really kind of reinvented himself. I have been hearing his name a lot. And you hope that comes to fruition because so far
was recruited. I mean, sorry to cut you off, but Des was recruited just for that to wreak havoc on the edge. And up until, so far in his college career, I know he was looked like he was figuring out last season. Then he got hurt, so you never know what could have been. I mean, at the same time, you said the defensive line. You can't take nothing away from the defensive line. You say the defensive line never produced. Well, the defensive line didn't produce. There's no excuse. It's next man up mentality. You lost Des Evans, you lost Ray Bahasek, you lost
Noah Taylor.
Noah Taylor was by far your best edge pass rusher up until the time that he got hurt.
Yeah. So you came in that spot.
Yeah, you can't make excuses for the defense line for not producing after essentially. Ray Bahasek. He was the focal point in the middle of that defense. He was a proven leader. He was a veteran. He was older. He had the strength. He had the endurance to play the downs. You lose him, then it's Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy, I think, rolls his ankle in the FAMU game, and he's playing on a bum wheel the rest of the season.
Right.
So injuries happen, but at the same time, the players that are healthy have to find a way to produce, and it just didn't happen throughout the entire defense. Grimes got hurt, Duck got hurt, Duck came back, he was never the same. You kind of thought Duck was going to figure it out late towards the middle half of the season last year, but it never came to fruition. So it's been unfortunate with the injuries, but this year the pressure just to be average. If you just I saw a stat somewhere that said if North Carolina had Syracuse's defense, that their ranking would be third in the country last season. I didn't watch any Syracuse games, so I'm not sure how good Syracuse's defense was.
They were decent.
I'm assuming they were average, maybe a little above average. So if you just instead of being 115th or 130th in some categories, be 80 to 90. I saw another stat.
I've actually got the UNC defense kind of ranking a little bit higher myself. That's just personally me. I think they're going to take a massive step. That's just me.
I hope so. I saw. I was listening to one college football podcast. They said North Carolina's defense on goal-to-go situations. So first thing, in order to get another first down, basically it was essentially a touchdown. So on goal-to-go situations, North Carolina gave up a touchdown 93% of the time on goal-to-go situations. So first and goal, it was a touchdown 93% of the time. You got to find a way. The defense has to find a way to make stops.
That's right. And, Chizik this year, I think, is going to have some more confidence in some areas, especially that corner room. I think he's going to have a lot of confidence in there. So I think he's going to get more aggressive because, we noticed multiple times last year, and I remember what game were we watching? We watched a game together, or maybe it was the Oregon game where we watched and it was like 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3 or something like that. And they were playing 10 yards off the wide receivers, playing and then dropping once the ball was snapped. Yeah. So you see that there and you wonder why that is. But you also look at the way the corners played. throughout that year, and you saw the way the defense had to be maneuvered and kind of trying to aid that back. Now, two things to fix that. One, corners got to play better, but two, your line's got to get pressure because you can't leave them out there on the island forever. So, I believe if Des Evans gets to a point where he's rushing, he's good. And that's why I think a piece like Amari Gaynor is so pivotal to this team. I watched him when he hit the portal, I kept an eye on him. And I heard the position of Jack. Oh, he could be a Jack for the team. Thinking if they can get that guy, and sure enough, when they got him, I've been excited for the season, for the defense, ever since that guy committed and decided, hey, I'm going to come here my last year in college football. That's the guy. And I think that's a big pivotal piece for them, because if they can have that one guy, or if they can have, Amari, Kamen, Dez, if he can actually play right, and play good. And I say that lovingly. We love you, Dez, but at the same time. And I think he knows it, because when he got hurt, he was on that players lounge that we saw from IC Live, and he stated, he says, it gave me a new appreciation for football. Something that he had never had, because dude's never been hurt. He's just been there all the time, and it's easy.
He's a freak. He is a freak. So looks good in pads. Looks good in pads.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that anybody in life, if you do something so much and you're just gifted at it, sometimes you take it for granted until it's taken away from you. Then you start to appreciate it more. And I think that's what's happened with Dez. Miles Murphy's looked better. Travis Shaw's slimmed up a lot. Tamari Fox is back. If these guys can just go do what they do and do it well, I'm saying the defense can be big this year and a lot better, because, defense has plagued North Carolina for 20 years now. Honestly, 20 years. Probably. Best was around that ACC title game. And in 2015, that year, probably the best that you had for a while, but truly 20 years at least. This is the last good defense. Really a true good defense. I want to ask, okay. And this kind of leads into something we're going to be doing next week, but I want to know from you right now, one player on the defense right now that is going to make headlines at UNC this year. I think I already know who you're going with.
Kamen Rucker.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was going with the Butcher. You got the Butcher.
I've liked Kamen Rucker's just my guy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I've liked Kamen Rucker ever since he stepped on the football field. He's a high energy guy. I feel like he brings it every down.
No BS.
Yeah, no BS, no excuses. He's just to get out there and, in a one-on-one or a dark alley, put Kamen Rucker beside me. He's that.
Yeah, you want to be on that dude's team.
If I'm walking down a dark alley and there's a couple guys walking towards me that don't look so friendly, and if I could choose one person, I ain't never met Kamen, but the way he plays on the field with that aggression and that dog mentality, like I'm going through you, around you, by any means necessary, so I can get to the quarterback. That's the kind of guy you want, that back alley. So yeah, Kamen Rucker. I feel like he's going to have a big year this year. I'd love to see him get close to 9.5, 8, anywhere from 8 to 10 sacks this year. If Kamen Rucker himself, he can get 8 to 10 sacks this year, the sky's the limit, I think, for this team.
I'm actually going to say somebody else. I'm actually going to say Power Eccles. I think he's going to have a massive year this year. He's going to step out and be a pretty big piece this year, because they've stated that if Cedric comes out, Power's moving to his spot, and then Amari comes in for Power's spot. And I think Power's going to take another step this year and really step out and be like, hey, I'm just as much the linebacker. I'm a pretty solid linebacker on this team, and he's pretty awesome. I like Power Eccles a lot. I like the way he plays. He had some
Mr.
growing to
Neck
do.
Roll.
Yeah.
If you play with a neck roll, you better be physical.
Yeah. That's what I like, dude. I love those pictures. You get
No,
Power and Amari together.
He's
This
physical
dude,
too.
yeah, he is. And there's a reason you wear 23. The reason you wear 23.
He got ejected off of a kickoff return. Hit off of a kickoff return.
Yeah.
Yes.
One guy that I would actually like to see, and I've heard a lot of good things. Now, this isn't a guy that's going to be playing a lot on the defense. Probably going to come in just from rotation spots from time to time. But I would like to see DJ Jones do something this year on the defense in that safety spot. When he comes in for somebody, I would love to see him get a pick, make a big time hit, something.
Yeah.
I would love to see that for DJ Jones. He's
that'd be
got
a good story for real.
He's got the potential to be kind of like a Chaz Surratt in a sense.
That's what I was thinking about, going from offense. I mean, Chaz made the switch, and I remember, what was it? It was Matt Brown's first year.
Yeah.
And like one of the first plays in Charlotte against South Carolina, I think the running back came up the middle and Chaz blew the tackle, but just whiffed on the tackle, and the defense like, hey, he's got a tackle. Easy, coach. He's never tackled before.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I'm thinking that right there, DJ has actually got a little bit more of a edge on that, because dude's so physical. He's used to that contact all the time. He's used to, quarterbacks, they're not used to that contact. They are taught to stay away from the contact. You're not looking for that. You're the QB.
DJ's a big fella.
He's stout, man.
If Boykins isn't able to go at that star position, then of course you got DJ Jones. You got DJ to come in. Worst case scenario, or I wouldn't necessarily say worst case, but Tayon Holloway and Marcus Allen on the corners, and you can always drop Huzzy into the star position in those nickel packages.
Well, predict the defense for me this year. When the season is over, we're going to say the defense did this well this season. Tell me.
The defense will improve on the back end. I don't think we'll see as many blown coverages as we did last year. I don't think you're going to have that classic shot where you see the opposing team's quarterback drop, doing that 5-step drop, and the next thing you know, you see that back shoulder dip, and you know what's coming. The ball's coming, it's going over the top, and the camera zooms out and pans, and the wide receiver, there's nobody within 10 yards. I don't think I think that is going to be the most improved area we see this year. I'm hopeful that it's the most improved, because there's nothing more deflating than a blown coverage and the other team's wide receiver or running back just streaking down the sidelines to score a touchdown. There's nothing more deflating.
I don't know why when you said that, when you gave that analogy, I don't know why I thought of Sam Hartman in Wake Forest. I don't know why I did, just all those times that he would do it. Thank God he's in Notre Dame right now. I couldn't stand that dude. Purely for that reason. When he dropped back, I'm thinking, oh, shoot, here we go.
Well, they had that slow mesh. So, I mean,
oh, my God, yeah. He'd fake the handoff for a minute and then
they would just stand there and then pull it. And then when he let it go, you just pray that the defense had him covered.
Yeah. You was waiting for the touchdown. Daggum. I'm going to say that when it's all said and done, the defense is going to shock a lot of people, a lot of national people, and they're going to be pretty solid. They're going to shed the soft stigma and the stereotype they've been going, and I think they'll be really good this year. I'm not going to say really good like, oh my God, they're top 25 in the nation defense. No, I'm not going to say that, but Do I personally think that they could get to a point where they looked at, in that 50 to 60 range? Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's a big time. What?
That's
I
a
know.
big time jump.
But, and you know what? It might not even start out that way. That's why I say like they can get to that point. But, those first 4 weeks, they're going to get tested very quickly. That defense does not have any room to be slack at all. Those first 4 weeks. Those first 4 weeks are big. You don't know what Appalachian State's going to do considering they don't have the quarterback they did, the Bryce kid. But Minnesota, they're a solid Big Ten team. You've got Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh's looking. I've heard a lot of good things coming from the Pittsburgh camp. A lot of good things. I've heard that they are potentially the third team behind Clemson and Florida State, not UNC.
Well, I've seen that. I've seen one ranking that had the
9-3.
No, it's 6-2 in the league, but 6-2 in the ACC, but 2-2 in the rest. So that would make them 8-4. But if and then they had North Carolina going 10-2, which means 10-2 overall, which means their 2 losses had to come to Pittsburgh, and you would assume Clemson. But the tiebreaker would go to Pittsburgh. That moved Pittsburgh into 3 and North Carolina down to number 4. So I mean, I've seen that prediction out of Pittsburgh, and honestly, I haven't paid that much attention to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't know what Pittsburgh's all about.
They're always physical.
Yeah,
and it seems that this North Carolina Pittsburgh rivalry is, kind of that train just slowly gaining momentum. Like every time these teams play each other, it's a dogfight.
I would honestly like
who's going to punk who.
Yeah, I would kind of like to see that. I think North Carolina, Virginia's the rivalry's all but done, in my opinion. Like
Virginia, you got to think Virginia. I mean, that's called the oldest rivalry in the South. So
in basketball, yeah. In football, I really don't see it that much.
I think it was probably football first.
Yeah. I believe it's definitely went to basketball for sure.
The past couple of years, Virginia struggled. Then you had the campus shooting last year that took 3 of their football players. So I mean that's going to devastate the team. The coaching changes at the end of last season. So I mean they're in a rebuild year. They're still one of the high-ranked universities in the ACC.
Right.
So I mean, don't discount. I'm not saying UVA is going to come out and blow the doors off this year because I think they're predicted to be, along with Virginia Tech, both of these universities are struggling.
Yeah,
it seems like
they're not doing good at all. And UNC did get a 41-10 win over Virginia Tech last year.
But I mean, that's one of the permanent games in UNC schedule with this new no divisions type thing.
Yeah.
So you want Virginia to be a better football team than what they have been the past 2 years? Because 3 years ago, they were a pretty stout team.
Yeah, they were pretty good a couple of years ago. They were my first ever game in Chapel Hill was obviously that Virginia game, and it was a really good game. It was fun.
Brendan Armstrong,
yeah, who's now in NC State. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But dude, we're gonna get out of here. We had a good time with this. We've got a lot more to go. We are still on the road to Charlotte. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be vlogging that for you all. It's slowly chugging down the tracks, dude. We are just over 2 weeks away. By the time you guys see this, it'll be 2 weeks away.
You can almost smell it.
September 2nd in Charlotte, North Carolina, 7:30 p.m. It's an ABC game, dude. National
TV. College game day. Be there, be square.
Yeah, they'll be there that morning. And, I was talking to a South Carolina fan the other day, and he was saying, like, dude, we never get college game day. I'm like, nah, neither do we. We don't ever see that. That's rare, man. And for them to come to Charlotte to kick off the season with us, man, that is awesome. It'll be cool. It'll be cool to see that. that atmosphere is going to be rocking. But we're going to preview that matchup the week of the game. So the week of the game, we'll do a South Carolina preview. We'll look at the matchup, see how it's looking. We'll break those things down from what we see, give our opinions, and then at the right before, like a day before the game, we will have our season predictor. We are going to predict UNC season wins and losses, all the games, and we'll see.
Hopefully Tez Walker's back by then. Hopefully,
oh, good God,
Tez Walker's back by then. Because how are you going to predict the season without one of the biggest playmakers in UNC's offense?
Yeah, if not the biggest one outside of Drake.
Free Tez,
I don't know.
NCAA.
John nice. Copenhaver's making himself a pretty big part of it. Copenhaver, man. We'll have to talk about him. But next week we kind of got some cool looking, like some cool pods. I think I'm gonna like those. Those two are gonna be excited for them. Those two are gonna be really good.
I think everybody else is gonna like them too.
Yeah, and we want to get people in on this. We want you guys to tell us what you think about the defense. Tell us what you think about the offense on the offensive podcast that we did, and we're gonna keep this thing going. Road to Charlotte. I'm excited, but dude, let's get out of here. We're gonna get anyway. We want to thank you all for watching, and we want to thank you all for being here. Alan, appreciate you, buddy, as always.
Oh yeah, not a problem. Go Heels.
Go Heels.